Taro stood at the edge of the bustling plaza in Nova Prime. The city sparkled under the light of twin suns, their glow reflecting off tall crystal towers. Music floated through the air, a mix of rhythms from worlds across the galaxy. The Galactic Festival had begun, and this was the night every species came together to celebrate, to dance, and to show their skills. Everywhere Taro looked, aliens of all shapes and sizes moved with energy and confidence. Some had multiple arms, some wings, and some glowed with colors he could barely name. Pairs danced gracefully, laughing and teasing each other, spinning around in ways that defied gravity. Humans were rare in this festival, and Taro felt the weight of being different. He tugged at his uniform, feeling out of place. Despite having trained as an explorer, he had never been around so many species at once. He watched others pair up. Tall reptilian creatures paired with floating, glowing beings. Short, furry aliens spun around with elegant insect-like partners. And then there were the humans. A few had found partners, but most were standing alone, unsure where to go or who to trust. Taro took a deep breath and reminded himself that humans were known for courage and adaptability. He had crossed asteroid fields, negotiated with strange alien councils, and survived dangerous missions. This was only a dance, a simple festival. Yet as he scanned the plaza, he realized that this night would not be simple. From across the floor, a hush seemed to fall over the crowd. Taro felt eyes on him, though he could not see exactly who was staring. Then he noticed her. She was unlike anyone he had ever seen. Her skin was pale, almost like silver in the twin sunlight, and her eyes glowed faintly red. She moved with a fluid grace that seemed to bend space slightly, drawing attention without effort. Heads turned as she walked past other pairs, her long hair flowing like a river of darkness. Taro's heart pounded. He had read about alien vampires in the records, powerful ancient beings known for their intelligence and skill. They were not feared for violence alone, but respected for their abilities and wisdom. Few humans ever interacted with them directly. And now she was approaching him. Taro swallowed hard, trying to appear calm. She stopped in front of him, her glowing eyes meeting his. The music slowed slightly, as if it had noticed the tension in the air. "Will you dance with me, human?" she asked. Her voice was melodic, with a strange echo that made Taro feel as if she was speaking inside his mind. He blinked. For a moment, he thought she might be joking, testing him. But her gaze held no mockery, only curiosity and a hint of challenge. Taro hesitated. Could he say no? That might insult her. Could he say yes? That might be dangerous. His mind raced, remembering every story he had ever read about alien vampires. They were known to test humans in subtle ways, to see if they were worthy. Then he reminded himself of something important. Humans had faced impossible odds before. They had survived when others thought they could not. They had adapted, learned, and thrived. This was just another challenge. He nodded slowly. "Yes, I will dance with you." A smile appeared on her face, faint but real. She extended her hand. Taro took it, feeling a strange warmth pass through him as their fingers touched. It was not fear or danger, but an energy that made him aware of every movement in the plaza, every sound, every vibration in the floor beneath them. The music changed again, slower now, with a rhythm that seemed to pulse like a heartbeat. Other dancers moved around them, giving space, sensing that something unusual was unfolding. As they began to move, Taro realized that dancing with her was unlike any dance he had ever learned. Her movements were precise and elegant, yet she adjusted perfectly to his steps. Each turn, each spin, felt synchronized. Even when he made a mistake, he tried to match her. Remembering lessons from his human childhood and his training as an explorer, humans were not always the most graceful, but they had determination, creativity, and the ability to improvise. He used those skills now, and to his surprise, she followed his lead when he took risks. The crowd watched, amazed. Humans were not known for partnering with alien vampires, yet here was one moving with confidence. Holding her hands spinning and gliding in harmony, Taro felt a thrill, a mix of fear and excitement. He was not just dancing. He was proving something about humanity. She spoke softly, her voice just above the music. "You are not like the others." Taro frowned, unsure how to respond. "I try my best," he said. She tilted her head, her hair brushing lightly against his shoulder. "Yes, and that is enough."
Ah!
The words made Taro smile. There was a calmness in her tone, a respect that he had not expected. Humans often felt small among the vastness of alien civilizations. But at that moment, he realized they had qualities others did not: courage, adaptability, and heart. As the dance continued, Taro noticed subtle things. The way she adjusted her movements to his smallest gestures. The way she anticipated shifts in rhythm, and the way her glowing eyes seemed to measure his determination. He understood that this was more than a simple dance, it was a test. A way to see if he could rise to the occasion. Other humans whispered among themselves, pointing to him. "He is dancing with an alien vampire," one said, amazed. Another shook their head. "I did not think a human could do that." Taro ignored the whispers. He focused on the music, the rhythm, and her guidance. Slowly, he felt his confidence grow. With each spin, each step, he matched her movements more smoothly. His initial fear faded, replaced by excitement. For the first time, he felt that humans could truly belong among the stars, even here in the heart of Nova Prime. Surrounded by powerful beings of every kind, as the song drew to a close, she leaned closer and said, "You have more courage than most humans I have met." Taro's chest swelled with pride. He knew he had faced challenges before, but this was different. This was a test of presence, composure, and trust. He had not just survived it. He had impressed her. The crowd erupted into polite applause. Some aliens murmured in admiration. She gave him a nod, a gesture of respect. Then she turned, ready to glide back into the crowd, leaving him standing at the edge of the dance floor. Taro felt a pull in his chest. A sense that this night was only the beginning. The festival would continue, and soon he would learn that dancing with her was only the first step in a much larger adventure. For now, he simply smiled, taking in the lights, the music, and the energy of the festival. Humans could be underestimated, he realized, but they also had a spark that no one could ignore. And in that moment, standing among the stars and the crowd of aliens, Taro felt proud. Not just as a human, but as someone capable of meeting challenges with courage, heart, and determination. The festival continued around him, but for Taro, one truth had become clear. Even in a galaxy full of powerful beings, humans could shine, and the night was just beginning. After the first dance, Taro felt his heart still racing. He could not believe what had just happened. The alien vampire woman had chosen him, a simple human, to dance with her in front of the entire crowd. The memory of her glowing eyes and graceful movements lingered in his mind. He walked slowly through the plaza, trying to calm himself. Everywhere he looked, creatures of every kind were still dancing. Music filled the air, some songs fast and energetic, others slow and gentle. Taro had always loved music, but here, with so many styles and rhythms combined, was almost overwhelming. He stopped at a small fountain in the center of the plaza. Water floated in the air, defying gravity as it shimmered in colors he could not name. He watched the droplets reflect the light from the twin suns. The crowd around him seemed distant now, and all he could think about was her. Then she appeared again. Her presence was quiet but powerful. She approached without hesitation, her glowing eyes fixed on him. "Are you ready for another dance?" she asked, her voice smooth and calm. Taro swallowed. He had thought the first dance was enough, but now she wanted more. "I will try," he said, feeling nervous but determined. She smiled faintly and extended her hand once more. Taro took it. The moment their fingers touched, he felt a surge of energy. It was not fear or danger. It was connection. He could sense her awareness, the way she studied him, measured him, and adjusted to his movements. The music began again. This time, it was a slow, melodic tune. The notes seemed to float in the air, moving around them in gentle waves. She guided him across the floor with ease. Her movements were smooth and flowing, and he tried to follow her as best he could. At first, Taro struggled. His steps were uneven, his spins awkward, but she did not correct him harshly. Instead, she moved with him, adjusting her own movements to make the dance feel natural. He realized that this was not a test of perfection. It was a test of connection, trust, and courage. As they danced, he began to notice small things about her. The way her eyes glowed brighter with emotion, the way her hair seemed to float around her as if it had a life of its own, the way she leaned slightly, guiding him without words. It was as if she could feel every thought and fear he had, and she accepted it without judgment. Taro began to relax. He remembered lessons from his training as an explorer. Humans often succeeded not because they were the strongest or fastest, but because they could adapt. They could think quickly, respond to changes, keep trying even when the odds seemed impossible. He let go of his fear and focused on the rhythm of the music. Step by step, spin by spin, he started to match her movements. His confidence grew with each turn. For the first time that evening, he felt truly capable. The crowd watched in silence, captivated by the unusual pairing. Aliens whispered to each other, impressed by the human's courage and skill. Some had expected him to fail, but he was holding his own. He moved with her, and together they created something beautiful, something that no one had anticipated. She leaned closer, her glowing eyes studying him. "You are learning quickly," she said softly. "I am trying," Taro replied.
Nice.
Smiling despite his nerves, she tilted her head, a gesture that seemed almost human. "You have spirit. That is rare among humans." Taro felt a warmth in his chest. Spirit. That was a word he had never thought of when describing humans. Yet here, in the heart of Nova Prime, it seemed to matter more than skill or strength. The dance continued, each step becoming more natural. Taro found that he could anticipate her movements, and she, in turn, adjusted to him. It was a collaboration, a silent communication through motion and rhythm. He realized that humans had something unique: creativity, unpredictability, and heart. The music shifted. Faster now, testing their coordination. Other dancers moved around them, creating a complex pattern of steps and spins. Taro felt the challenge rise, but he also felt exhilaration. Humans could rise to challenges, and he intended to show that he could. She spun him in a wide arc, and he landed perfectly, surprising even himself. A cheer went up from a nearby group of aliens. Taro could feel their eyes on him, but he ignored them, focusing only on the dance and the rhythm that guided him. As the song reached its climax, she leaned closer again. "Do you feel it?" she asked. "Feel what?" Taro replied, trying to catch his breath. "The connection," she said. "Between us and with the music, it is stronger than fear or doubt." Taro nodded. He did feel it. The fear that had gripped him earlier was gone. In its place was focus, courage, and a sense of unity. He realized that humans could connect with others in ways that were not always obvious. That connection could be their strength, especially among alien species who valued logic or power above all else. The song ended with a flourish. Taro and the vampire woman came to a stop, breathing heavily but smiling. Around them, the crowd erupted into applause. Humans nearby whispered among themselves, amazed that one of their own had danced so well with a being as powerful as an alien vampire. She looked at him, her eyes glowing softly. "You have more courage than most I have seen," she said. Taro felt pride, but also curiosity. "Why me?" he asked. "Why choose a human?" She considered him for a moment, then smiled faintly. "Humans are unpredictable. They have something different. They can rise to challenges in ways that surprise even the oldest beings. That is why I chose you." Taro felt a mixture of awe and humility. He had never thought of humans in that way. To her, humans were not weak or fragile. They were capable, adaptable, and brave. "Thank you," he said softly. "I will not let you down," she nodded, her expression unreadable but approving. "You already have shown more than many would. This is only the beginning." Taro's mind raced. Only the beginning. He did not yet know what challenges awaited, but he felt ready. Humans had survived so much, and he believed that spirit would carry him through whatever came next. As the festival continued, other dancers approached them, curious and cautious. Some tried to match their steps, while others watched in awe. Taro realized that humans could earn respect even among beings far stronger or more experienced. It was not just about skill, but about determination, creativity, and heart. The alien vampire woman extended her hand once more, inviting him to dance again. Taro accepted without hesitation. This time he felt more confident, more connected. Each movement was smoother, each spin more natural. They danced as partners, equals, and for the first time, Taro truly felt that humans had a place in the galaxy that went beyond fear or doubt. The crowd continued to watch. Mesmerized by the unusual pairing, aliens whispered to each other, impressed by the humans' courage and skill. Some had expected him to fail, but he was holding his own. He moved with her, and together they created something beautiful. Something that no one had anticipated. As the music ended again, she leaned close and said, "You are stronger than I thought." Stronger than most humans. Taro smiled, realizing that humans were not weak. They were resilient, creative, and capable of rising to any challenge. He felt proud not just for himself but for his species. For the first time, he felt that humans truly belonged in the galaxy. Among beings of all shapes and powers, the festival lights glowed brighter as the evening continued. Taro knew that more challenges awaited, more dances, and perhaps even tests of courage. But for now, he was ready. He had faced the first step, and he had succeeded. Humans could rise to challenges, and he intended to prove it again and again. And as the music played, and the alien vampire woman extended her hand once more, Taro realized that this dance was not just a test or a festival event. It was the start of something greater, a partnership, a connection, and a new chapter in his life among the stars. The Galactic Festival went on, full of energy, music, and color. Taro danced with courage, creativity, and heart. He had shown that humans could shine even in the most unlikely places. And as he spun across the plaza, he knew that this was only the beginning of an adventure that would take him further than he had ever imagined. The next day, Nova Prime shone brighter than ever. The city's towers reflected the light of the twin suns, and banners from countless worlds fluttered in the warm breeze. The Galactic Festival continued, but today a new excitement filled the air. A loud announcement echoed through the plaza, capturing the attention of everyone present. The Intergalactic Dance Challenge begins, boomed a voice. The crowd cheered. Pairs from across the galaxy will compete in rhythm, agility, and teamwork. The prize is the celestial artifact, an ancient object said to grant knowledge and insight into the universe. Taro's heart skipped a beat. The festival had been a celebration, a chance to dance and show skill, but this was different. This was a challenge, a competition with high stakes. He looked at the alien vampire woman standing beside him. Her glowing eyes seemed to shine brighter with anticipation. "Are you ready for this?" she asked, her voice calm but firm. Taro nodded. "I am," he said, though inside he felt nervous. Competing against pairs from across the galaxy was no small task. Many species were faster, stronger, and more experienced than humans. But he remembered the first two dances. Humans had something unique: determination, creativity, and heart. She gave him a small smile. "Then let us show them what humans can do." The competition area was enormous. It was a large arena, floating in the air above the plaza, with platforms that moved and shifted. Gravity was adjustable, and lights flashed in patterns that matched the music. Pairs from across the galaxy lined up, each looking confident and skilled. Some had extra limbs, some had wings, and some glowed with colors that shifted with their emotions. Taro felt a pang of doubt. Could a human really compete against so many powerful beings? But he shook his head. Fear would not help. He had faced challenges before, survived dangerous missions, and overcome impossible odds. Humans could adapt, and he intended to prove it here. The alien vampire woman extended her hand. "Remember, trust in yourself and in our connection," she said. Taro took her hand, feeling the familiar energy that had guided him during the festival dances. The first round began. Music filled the arena, a complex mix of rhythms from multiple planets. The platforms shifted under their feet, some rising, some falling, some tilting to the side. Other pairs moved with precision, spinning and jumping with skill that seemed impossible. Taro focused on the rhythm. He watched the vampire woman carefully, following her lead while adding his own improvisations. Humans were unpredictable, and that could work to their advantage. They moved together as one. She spun him across a rising platform, and he adjusted midair, landing perfectly. The crowd gasped. Other pairs faltered on the shifting platforms, but Taro adapted, using quick thinking and balance to maintain their rhythm. After several songs, the first round ended. The judges, a panel of ancient alien beings, conferred. Then they announced the results. Taro and the vampire woman had placed in the top 5. The crowd cheered, and some humans whispered in amazement. "You are stronger than I expected," she said quietly, as they walked to the side. Many would have failed by now. Taro smiled. "I am learning from you," he replied. "Your movements, they guide me." She nodded. "And you respond in ways few others would. That is why humans are interesting." The second round began shortly after. This time, the challenge was more difficult. The music shifted unpredictably, changing tempo and style without warning. Platforms moved faster, some disappearing briefly before reappearing. Aliens who had relied on precision began to falter. Taro focused. He remembered his training as an explorer, how humans had survived dangerous planets by adapting quickly. He moved with her, adjusting to every twist and turn. When a platform tilted, he leaned and balanced. When the music sped up, he matched it with creativity. She glanced at him, her glowing eyes reflecting admiration. "You are not afraid," she said. "That is rare." Taro replied. "We can do this together." Their teamwork improved with every step. He learned to anticipate her movements, and she adjusted to his. Together, they flowed across the arena, moving in harmony despite the chaos around them. The crowd grew louder, cheering the unusual pairing of human and alien vampire. Finally, the second round ended. Taro was exhausted, but exhilarated. They had survived challenges that others could not. The judges nodded in approval, and whispers spread among the spectators. Humans were capable of more than most beings expected. The final round approached, and the tension in the air was palpable. The arena transformed into a zero-gravity chamber, where the platforms floated freely and the music pulsed with sudden changes. Many pairs hesitated, unsure how to adapt. Taro took a deep breath. "We can do this," he said. She smiled faintly. "Trust in yourself and in us." The music began, faster and more unpredictable than before. Platforms moved in sudden bursts, spinning and tilting. Some vanished for a moment, forcing dancers to leap or float in midair. Taro felt his heart race, but he focused. Humans could improvise, and he intended to do just that. She spun him in the air, and he landed on a moving platform with perfect balance. They moved together, anticipating each other's steps, trusting the connection they had built over the past dances. Other pairs faltered, unable to keep up with the shifting platforms and changing rhythm. But Taro and the vampire woman moved as one. She guided him with subtle shifts of her hand and body, and he responded with quick thinking and creativity. The crowd erupted with cheers as they completed the sequence flawlessly. Even the most experienced alien dancers watched in amazement. Taro realized something important. Humans were often underestimated, but they had something unique: adaptability, courage, and the ability to rise to unexpected challenges. As the music ended, the judges conferred and then announced the results. Taro and the alien vampire woman had won the Intergalactic Dance Challenge. The crowd erupted in applause. Humans and aliens alike celebrated their victory. She turned to him, her glowing eyes softening. "You have proven that humans can rise to challenges," she said. "You are more than I expected," Taro smiled, feeling pride not only for himself, but for his species. Humans were capable of more than others often realized: courage, creativity, and heart could allow them to shine even among the greatest beings in the galaxy. The celestial artifact was presented to them. A small crystal that shimmered with light from within. It was beautiful, but Taro knew the real reward was the respect they had earned. Aliens who had doubted humans now looked at him differently. "You did well," he said to her. "We did well," she nodded, her expression approving. "Yes, together we are stronger." As the festival continued, Taro realized that this night was more than a victory. It was proof that humans could hold their own, that courage and heart mattered as much as strength and skill. And with her by his side, felt ready for whatever challenges the galaxy might present next. For Taro, the Intergalactic Dance Challenge was not just a competition. It was a lesson, a moment that showed him that humans had a place among the stars. Even when surrounded by powerful and ancient beings, they could rise, adapt, shine. And as he looked at the alien vampire woman, he felt something else. Respect, trust, and the beginning of a partnership that could take him to places he had never imagined. Together, they had faced the impossible and won. And together, they would face the future, wherever it led. The festival lights shone brighter than ever, reflecting in the eyes of spectators from countless worlds. Taro felt a sense of pride and belonging. Humans might be few in the galaxy, but they had qualities that could not be ignored. And tonight, Taro had shown them all. The arena fell silent as the final round of the Intergalactic Dance Challenge began. Taro and the alien vampire woman stood at the edge, their hands lightly touching, ready to move. Around them, the crowd held its breath. This was the moment everyone had waited for, the ultimate test of skill, courage, and teamwork. The arena had transformed completely. Platforms floated in midair, rotating and shifting unpredictably. The gravity fluctuated, sometimes pulling dancers lightly toward the ceiling, sometimes making them float as if weightless. Music filled the space, its rhythm changing suddenly and without warning. Only the most alert and adaptable dancers could hope to succeed. Taro took a deep breath. He felt the familiar energy of the vampire woman's presence beside him. It had guided him through the festival and the challenge so far, and he trusted it completely. Humans had a strength that many species overlook: the ability to adapt quickly, to think in the moment, and to take risks when necessary. "Stay close," she whispered. "Trust your instincts." Taro nodded, gripping her hand firmly. The moment the music shifted, they launched into motion. Platforms spun and tilted beneath them. Some disappeared, forcing them to leap with precision. The vampire woman moved with her usual grace, guiding Taro with subtle gestures. He adjusted quickly, leaping, spinning, and landing with careful balance. The other competitors struggled. Alien pairs faltered as the platforms shifted in unexpected ways. Some fell completely, disappearing from the arena for several seconds before being allowed to rejoin. Taro realized that this final challenge was not just about strength or skill. It was about improvisation, timing, and courage. He focused on the rhythm, letting the music guide his movements. The vampire woman adjusted to his steps seamlessly. Together they moved as one, each anticipating the other's actions. He realized that humans had something unique in these moments: unpredictability. Where other species followed patterns, humans could respond spontaneously, turning potential mistakes into advantages. The arena introduced a new challenge. A section of platforms rotated rapidly, creating the illusion that they were unstable and dangerous. Other pairs hesitated, moving cautiously. Taro did not. He trusted his instincts and the connection with his partner. With a sudden leap, he spun her across the platforms, and she landed perfectly, following his lead. The crowd gasped, sensing the bravery and coordination of the human-alien pair. The vampire woman's eyes glowed brighter. "Impressive," she said quietly. "You are more daring than most beings I have seen." "I have to be," Taro replied, his voice steady. "We can do this together." Music shifted again, this time faster and more complex. Gravity changed suddenly, pushing them upward and then pulling them downward. Taro felt a rush of adrenaline. Humans could think on their feet, and he had learned to trust his instincts. He adjusted his movements mid-air, spinning and leaping, keeping perfect rhythm with his partner. They reached a series of moving platforms that twisted in spirals. Many pairs struggled here, missing their landings or colliding with one another. Taro focused entirely on the rhythm, timing each jump perfectly. He guided the vampire woman with subtle gestures. Together they moved through the spirals with grace and precision. The crowd roared in approval. Humans were often underestimated, but here was proof that they could rise to any challenge. Taro felt a surge of pride. He was not just dancing. He was demonstrating that humanity could shine even among the most advanced and experienced beings in the galaxy. A sudden obstacle appeared. Series of platforms that rotated in opposite directions. Most competitors froze, unsure of how to navigate the shifting surfaces. Taro did not hesitate. He jumped onto the first platform, spinning to maintain balance. The vampire woman followed, her movements in perfect sync with his. "Excellent," said her voice calm but approving. "You are adapting perfectly." Taro smiled. "Humans can think fast. We just need the chance." The music reached a crescendo, fast and unpredictable. Platforms moved in chaotic patterns and gravity continued to fluctuate. Taro realized that the final test was not just about skill, but about courage. Many competitors were retreating, letting fear control them. But humans, he thought, had a spirit that could overcome fear. He leaped across a wide gap, landing on a floating platform just as the vampire woman followed him. Their movements were synchronized perfectly. Together, they moved through a series of impossible-looking jumps, spins, and turns. The crowd watched in awe, cheering louder than ever. At one point, a platform began to tilt dangerously. Taro grabbed his partner's hand and adjusted both of their positions, using quick thinking and balance. They managed to stabilize themselves and continue the routine. Other pairs stumbled here, losing precious seconds. Taro realized that humans could turn risk into advantage, using creativity to survive where others failed. As the music slowed momentarily, he looked at the vampire woman. Her eyes glowed with admiration. "You are remarkable," she said. "Not just brave, but clever. You see possibilities others do not." "I have to," Taro replied. "If we hesitate, we fail. But if we trust ourselves, we can succeed." The final section of the arena appeared, a series of platforms forming a wide spiral, rotating upward like a tower. The music pulsed with a slow, steady rhythm, demanding precision and timing. Many pairs hesitated, exhausted from the challenges so far. Taro gritted his teeth, determined to finish. Step by step, they climbed the spiral. His mind was focused, every movement calculated yet fluid. The vampire woman followed his lead when necessary, adjusting to his quick decisions. Together, they moved faster than anyone could anticipate. Turning the impossible spiral into a dance of grace and power, the final leap approached. A platform hovered above, glowing softly. They had to reach it at the exact moment when gravity aligned or they would fall. Taro counted the rhythm in his head, feeling the energy of the music and the guidance of his partner. "Now," whispered. With perfect timing, they leaped together. Airborne, spinning, they landed safely on the final platform. The crowd erupted into cheers, applause echoing across the plaza. Competitors who had failed watched in amazement. Humans had triumphed where others had struggled. The vampire woman looked at him, her glowing eyes softening. "You have proven more than skill. You have shown courage, creativity, and heart. That is why humans can rise above expectations." Taro smiled, exhausted but elated. "I could not have done it without you." "Ah," she nodded. "And I could not have succeeded without your spirit. Together, we are stronger." The judges conferred and then announced the results. Taro and the alien vampire woman were declared winners of the Intergalactic Dance Challenge. The celestial artifact, a crystal glowing with inner light, was presented to them. But the real reward was respect. Aliens who had doubted humans now looked at Taro differently. He had proven that humans could shine among the greatest beings in the galaxy as the festival continued around them. Taro reflected on what had just happened. Humans were often underestimated, but their courage and adaptability gave them a unique strength. Even in situations where others relied on power or precision, humans could innovate and rise to the challenge. The alien vampire woman extended her hand. "This is only the beginning," she said. "There are more challenges ahead, and I believe humans will continue to surprise." Taro took her hand, feeling the energy and trust that had carried them through the arena. "Then we will face them together," he said. The festival lights shone brighter than ever. The plaza buzzed with celebration, music, and excitement. Taro had learned something important. Humans were not weak or fragile. They could adapt, innovate, and inspire. Courage, heart, determination could allow them to stand alongside the strongest and most skilled beings in the galaxy. As he looked around at the cheering crowd and the alien spectators, felt pride. Pride not just for himself, but for humanity. They had risen to the challenge, and he had proven that humans could be more than others expected. The night was far from over. There would be more festivals, more dances, and more challenges. But Taro now knew that humans had a place among the stars. With courage, creativity, and heart, they could face anything. And beside him, the alien vampire woman smiled, glowing softly in the festival lights. Together, they'd face the impossible, and together, they would face the future. The adventure was only beginning. The plaza of Nova Prime glowed under the light of the twin suns, reflecting off the crystal towers and casting rainbows of color across the crowd. The galactic festival had reached its peak, and the music filled every corner of the city. Taro walked beside the alien vampire woman, feeling a sense of pride and wonder that he had never experienced before. The intergalactic dance challenge was over. They had one, proving not only their skill, but the potential of humans in a galaxy full of powerful beings. The celestial artifact rested in her hands, a crystal glowing softly, with a light that seemed alive. Yet, Taro knew the real victory was the respect they had earned. Creatures of all shapes and sizes approached them, offering congratulations. Some bowed deeply. Others extended limbs in gestures of admiration. Humans around him whispered in awe, pointing to Taro and the vampire woman. "He did it," one said. "He really danced with her and won." Taro smiled, though he felt humble. He had not done it alone. The vampire woman had guided him, adjusted to his movements, and trusted him in moments when others might have doubted him. Together, they had achieved something extraordinary. The vampire woman looked at him, her glowing eyes soft and calm. "You have shown more than courage," she said. "You have shown that humans have a spirit that can rise above expectation. That is why I chose you to dance with me." Taro felt a warmth in his chest. "Thank you," he said. "I did not know I could do this, but with you, I found the courage." She nodded. "And you have given me something as well. Humans are not like others. They are unpredictable, creative, and full of heart. That makes them worthy of respect." The festival organizers invited them to a special stage at the center of the plaza. A large crowd gathered, cheering and waving banners. Aliens and humans alike celebrated their victory. The music shifted to a gentle melody, and the vampire woman offered her hand to Taro once more. "Shall we dance again?" she asked, her voice warm. Taro accepted, smiling. This dance was different from the others. It was not a challenge or a test. It was a celebration. Step by step, spin by spin, they moved together in harmony. The crowd watched in awe, captivated by the unusual pairing. Humans and aliens alike recognized the beauty of connection and trust as they danced. Taro thought about everything he had learned. Humans were often underestimated, but courage, heart, and creativity could allow them to shine in ways no one expected. Even among powerful alien species, humans had a place, a role that was unique and valuable. The vampire woman glanced at him, a faint smile on her lips. "You have changed my understanding of humans," she said. "They are not fragile or weak. They are capable of greatness." Taro felt proud, but also reflective. "I think humans have always had potential," he said. "We just need the chance to show it." She nodded. And now you have shown it. You have not only represented yourself, but all of your kind. That is something to be proud of. After the dance, the festival organizers invited them to speak to the crowd. Taro stepped forward, his heart beating fast. He cleared his throat and began. Today, humans have shown that we can rise to challenges, he said, his voice steady. We may be small in number, and some may doubt us, but we have courage, creativity, and determination. That is what allows us to succeed, and it is what allows us to connect with beings from across the galaxy. The crowd listened intently. Aliens nodded in agreement, and humans cheered. Taro realized that this moment was bigger than a festival. It was a statement. Humans were capable, and their qualities could not be ignored. The vampire woman stood beside him, her presence calm and strong. He speaks the truth, she said, her voice carrying across the plaza. Humans are remarkable. They may not always appear the strongest, but they have qualities that can surpass expectation. That is why they are valued among us. Taro felt a sense of pride swell in his chest. He had not just won a competition. He had represented humanity, proving that they had a place among the stars. The respect of other species, the admiration of the crowd, and the partnership with the vampire woman were more meaningful than any trophy. As the festival continued, Taro and the vampire woman walked through the plaza. Spectators approached, offering congratulations and sharing stories of their own worlds. Taro realized that humans could learn from aliens, and aliens could learn from humans. Connection, respect, and collaboration were what truly mattered. The music shifted again, this time to a lively, joyful rhythm. Taro looked at the vampire woman. "Shall we dance once more?" he asked, smiling. She extended her hand, and he took it. Together they moved through the plaza, spinning and stepping in harmony. Laughter and cheers followed them as they danced. Taro felt a sense of freedom, feeling that humans could truly shine when they embraced courage and heart. After the dance, they paused at the center of the plaza. The twin suns reflected off the crystal towers, casting light across the crowd. Taro looked at the vampire woman, her glowing eyes soft and bright. "Will you continue to dance with me, even after the festival?" she asked. Taro felt a thrill of excitement. "I would be honored," he said. "Together, we can face whatever comes next," she nodded. "Then it is settled. Humans are not only capable of courage, but they can also be trusted. That is why I will continue with you." The night deepened, but the plaza remained alive with music, light, and celebration. Taro walked beside the vampire woman, feeling a sense of belonging he had never experienced before. Humans were often underestimated, but he knew that courage, heart, and adaptability could allow them to rise above expectation. The celestial artifact glowed softly in her hands, a reminder of their victory. But Taro knew that the real treasure was the connection they had formed, the respect they had earned, and the proof that humans could shine among the stars. As the festival came to a close, Taro reflected on everything that had happened. He had faced challenges, danced with an ancient and powerful being, and proven that humans could rise above fear and doubt. He had discovered the strength of connection, the importance of trust, and the power of courage. The alien vampire woman looked at him once more, her eyes glowing softly. "You have done well, human. You have shown that even the smallest beings can achieve greatness when they trust themselves and work together." Oh, Taro smiled. "And you have shown me that guidance and trust can make all the difference." Together they stood at the center of the plaza, watching the stars begin to appear in the darkening sky. The festival lights reflected off the crystal towers, casting colors across the crowd. Humans and aliens celebrated together, united in joy and admiration. Taro realized that this was more than a festival. It was a statement. Humans had a place in the galaxy, not because they were the strongest or fastest, but because they had heart, courage, and creativity. That was what made them remarkable. The vampire woman extended her hand once more, and Taro took it. Together, they moved through the plaza, dancing among the stars and the cheering crowd. The festival had ended, but a new journey had begun. Humans had proven themselves. Taro had proven himself. And together, they would face the universe. Ready for new challenges, new adventures, and new opportunities to show that humanity could shine even in the farthest reaches of space. As the twin suns set and the stars filled the sky, Taro knew one thing for certain. Humans were not weak, not small, and not insignificant. They were capable of courage, greatness, and connection. And with trust, heart, and determination, they could face anything the galaxy had to offer. The night ended in celebration, laughter, and joy. Taro and the vampire woman stood together, partners in dance, allies in spirit, and proof that humans could rise above expectation. The adventure was only beginning, and the galaxy had yet to see all that humanity could achieve.